Hello everyone, my name is Adrian and I'm so happy to have you here on my channel. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about what it can be like processing the fact that you are autistic and or have ADHD. I feel like people looking from the outside, or maybe even some neurodivergent people looking at other neurodivergent people expressing their experiences with autism and ADHD, can have only half the picture a lot of the times. Some people think that being diagnosed with one of these conditions is only bad and assume that you should only express the bad when talking about it. From the perspective of some people, it seems like some people only talk about the bad, and it seems like some people only talk about the good. Though, actually, if you really pay attention, most of the people talking about this do actually express both highs and lows at different points. But you know how people will see like one video and make a ton of assumptions about a person. So, for one, we should always keep in mind that everyone is different. We all experience things in different ways. Not every autistic person presents the same way. Not every ADHDer presents in the same way. We're all different people with different lives who respond to different things in different ways. So I think one of the things about this whole thing I'm trying to describe right now is some autistic people do kind of hate that they're autistic and have a very negative outlook on their lives and feel like their autism ruins everything for them and that people never like and understand them. And I really can't understand why some people feel that way, but that does sometimes make a person very judgmental of someone who might have a different experience. And like, I don't think that's super common, but just had to mention it because some people will argue with you and try to invalidate you and claim that like another experience other than theirs is not possible. But also, when it comes to people who don't have autism, they'll take that and run with it. Like, see, I knew all these people were faking because here's this real autistic person who says that it's all bad. And it's like, no. Um, and so, moving on to what really irks me is the assumption of people outside of the community who think that the people who might speak positively about being autistic are just faking autism and trying to be cool and quirky and assume that these people never struggle, which is just not the case. I wish that people could understand that just because someone chooses to have a more positive outlook doesn't mean that they never struggle. You don't just get diagnosed with autism and ADHD if you don't struggle. Like, the struggle is part of the diagnosis. Um, I think a big part of the problem is you can't get a lot of information out of one TikTok video, for example. And so when an autistic person, an ADHDer, an ADHDer makes a lighthearted video or speaks about the positives of their condition, people assume that's it, I guess. But I'm telling you, most of the time, if you watch enough of that person's videos, you will at some point see them speaking about the negatives, maybe sharing a really difficult aspect of their autism and ADHD. Some of these people have even shared their meltdowns online, but then somehow that'll create a whole other issue. It's like people will be mad at you for sharing the positives, but then you share a really tough day and suddenly you're just overly dramatic and attention seeking and they still think you're faking. You never really can win on the internet with anything, to be honest, because people have a problem with everything apparently. And here's another layer of this, and what was really, I think, my initial intention with this video. I didn't really quite anticipate myself going the direction that I did in the beginning of this video. So here it is. I think there's often this misconception if you haven't listened to a large variety of people's experiences. Honestly, that's probably it. That's probably what it is. See, because I always feel confused as to why people don't understand this, but then I have to understand that not everybody has consumed the massive amount of autism content that I have. But anyway, the misconception is that there's only going to be like one experience in receiving these diagnoses. Like, you're either going to feel really relieved and validated when you discover you're autistic and ADHD, or you're going to feel very disappointed and like you have to grieve your life. When in reality, it's quite common to feel a large range of emotions pretty much all at once. But you also might go through multiple phases as you're unpacking this information. Yes, there is relief when you felt like an alien your whole life and like something was severely wrong with you that you couldn't figure out. And then you finally realize, oh, it's because of autism and ADHD. And I'm not a failure of a human being. I'm not just a really horrible neurotypical person. I'm just neurodivergent. I was just trying to fit into a box I was never made to fit into, like trying to fit a square in a circle, right? But then there's also potentially grieving an entire reality that you thought you might potentially live up to, because now you realize that that lifestyle is just never going to work for you. You might have a lot of trouble accepting that you're never going to be able to become this perfect neurotypical person that you might have been trying to be your whole life. Then there's also maybe some grief over feeling like you tortured yourself your whole life trying to fit in, when maybe if you had known sooner that you were ADHD, for example, you could have been taking better care of yourself. And then there can be a lot of emotions when it comes to realizing that you actually have no idea who you are because you spent your whole life wearing a mask, trying to keep yourself safe, and just trying to have friends. You may realize you don't even know what you truly enjoy because you spend all your time trying to not be weird and trying to be more like other people around you. So, yeah, you can feel hopeful because you finally are beginning to understand and feel like you might be excited to go on this journey of rediscovery and unmasking. But you also might be really sad about all your early struggles and self hatred and feel plagued by this concept of what if, and just in general feel very overwhelmed with everything you have come to the realization of. And it's hard to feel like you can ever really be yourself because the world still has a lot of learning to do. There's still a lot of unpleasant and even dangerous situations that you could get yourself into because people do not understand autism and ADHD enough. And many people are unwilling to treat people who are different than them with kindness for some reason. And then again, there are still many positives because more and more people are becoming educated on this, and more people are opening up their minds and their hearts to undoing the harmful conditioning that society has programmed in us and being willing to change their minds about how they are seeing things and how they were treating people. Yeah, I just wanted to share that. So, keep this in mind before you assume things about people, or keep this in mind if you are just coming into the realization that you have autism and or ADHD, that you might actually experience an array of different emotions. And I hope this made sense to you all because I did kind of take this like into different directions, kind of talking about the people judging and assuming based on what you might share on social media, and then also the judgment that comes from people not understanding like the roller coaster of emotions that people often go through when being diagnosed. Um, or I guess I'm really still talking about like the same thing. I don't know. I'm just confusing myself at this point. Hopefully, you understand what I've been trying to communicate here. Thank you all for watching. Wishing you a beautiful and magical life. Please like and subscribe if you like my content. Comment your thoughts down below in the comment section, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!